What's up guys, it's FallenHobo here, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the M32 Incendiary and the M32 Stun with the help of DuhNeeguh, who will be my tester for today. Now starting things off with the M32 Stun, as you guys can see, it deals 30 damage per grenade. It also lets out a yellow gas. Now what that yellow gas does is if you come to contact with it, it'll slow you down drastically. It just slows you down. It makes you feel like you're running around with a heavy vest and a machine gun. A lot of people assume that the M32 Stun shot out flash grenades, which is totally untrue. I'll be going into more detail on the M32 Stun later on in the review. Now quickly moving on to the M32 Incendiary. As you guys can see, it shoots out incendiary flames, dealing 3 damage per second, and right now I'm stacking the flames, dealing even more damage. And I'll be talking more about this M32 later on in the review as well. Now on to the actual gameplay. You guys might have noticed that the Comet Arms sound is set really low, and the reason for that is because my clanmates were talking in the back and I didn't want their voices in the back of this review. I wasn't even planning to fraps this game, but you know, they invited me to this death room, capture the flag, and I thought to myself, what the heck, might as well record this. And yeah, this is pretty much the game, and before I move on, I'd like to thank Asian Ehon for the M32 Incendiary for 7 days, flancofranco for the M32 Stun for 7 days, and DuhNeeguh for the Viper for 7 days. Thank you very much. I couldn't have done this review without you guys. Now moving on, I'm going to be starting off with the M32 Stun, which you guys are probably most curious about. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys, the M32 Stun is really bad. It's just terrible. I've been playing with it for the last 4 or 5 days now, and there's Faki with his minigun. But anyways, the M32 Stun is a really bad weapon, honestly. As I said before in the beginning of the video, it deals roughly 30 damage. If it's direct hit, it deals 30 damage. If it hits the ground around them, it will deal splash damage. In terms of explosive damage, it's pretty much the exact same as the original M32, the only difference being that the M32 Stun deals significantly lower damage. And as you guys saw in the beginning of the video, the M32 Stun also shoots out a yellow cloud, which I briefly explained, and I'll be going into more detail right now. The actual stun cloud will last about 3 to 5 seconds, and the actual stunning, if you come into contact with it, it will probably wear off in 3 to 5 seconds as well. In my opinion, it's quite ineffective. In the example that I showed you in the beginning, DuhNeeguh was running around with the M32 after he got stunned. That wasn't such a good example. But regardless of what you're holding, you're still going to be running around as slow as some guy with a heavy vest and a machine gun. Even if you're trying to run around with a knife, you're just going to be running just as slow. This weapon is really garbage in my opinion. It's going to help your teammates way more than it's going to help you. It's just really bad. I mean, even if you do stun someone, big deal. It's not going to limit their sight, not going to limit their whatever. It's just going to slow them down, no big deal. And if you do want to finish them off, the time you need to pull out your primary weapon is the perfect time for your enemy to finish you off. It's really ineffective. It's not like the M32 where you can just run around, blow up your enemies, and expect really easy kills. It's not like that with the M32 Stun. The stun deals 30 damage, and only if it's a direct hit, meaning it's gonna be at least a 4-shot kill, which is pretty weak for an explosive. But on the bright side, I can imagine the M32 Stun being somewhat useful in games such as capture the flag. I mean, if a teammate grabs the flag, you can easily create a giant smoke cloud of stun to slow down all the enemies who try and go and recover the flag. But then again, it really depends on how the user uses the M32 Stun and what map you're playing in, because the M32 Stun, honestly, it's only effective in really small maps such as Death Room and Junk Fleet. Really, anywhere else it's pretty damn useless. So anyways, I'm going to be moving on to the M32 Incendiary now, which isn't much better than the M32 Stun. I find the M32 Incendiary pretty useless as well. I mean, all it does is shoot incendiary fire. There's really nothing special about it. You got 6 rounds of incendiary fire, nothing really special. As you guys can see, I'm pretty bad with it, so you guys will have to bear with me. It's actually a lot more effective in games of quarantine, as I will show you guys right now. As you guys will see, hold on, you can actually stack the incendiary fire. Now, as I said before in the beginning of the video, each second deals 3 damage, but you can actually stack the damage. If you shoot 6 rounds of Incendiary together, it will deal 18 damage a second instead, which is a lot more effective. But still, for a game of Quarantine, I say that the Flamethrower is still a lot more effective. But the M32 Stun, however, is actually quite useful in games of Quarantine. Surprisingly, it does stun the infected, and when the infected are stunned, they can't even sprint properly. It's pretty funny. They just run around so slow, it's pretty funny. But the thing is, you can easily stun yourself as well, and when you stun yourself, you're going to be really easy target. As you guys see right now, I accidentally stunned myself and I was like dead instantly, so you guys have to be really careful about that as well. Oh, and I forgot to mention, fun fact, with the M32 Incendiary, you actually can't burn yourself with the Incendiary Flames, which is actually very useful. I've played multiple games where I just rush into Death Room, enemy spawn, lighting their entire spawn on fire. I didn't have to worry about getting burned, which was actually pretty cool. A pretty neat feature of the M32 Incendiary. Now moving on to Fireteam Fever, this is where the M32 Incendiary really starts to shine, because look at all these points I'm racking up right now just by burning the infected. I'm getting a heck load of points, and yeah, it's pretty good. You don't have to worry about getting KS'd as well, because the points you gain in Cabin Fever, it's not based on the amount of kills you get, but it's based on how many times you hit the enemy. And as we know, the Incendiary, it friggin' burns the zombies like 3 damage a second, so you're going to be continuously racking up points, which is really good. But however, the M32 Incendiary still has its disadvantages. I mean, look at this reload speed. It's just so slow, and you have to reload round per round. It's just so annoying. Every single round you have to reload it. It's just really bothersome. And the M32 Incendiary, it's just not as good as the Flamethrower. The Flamethrower just wrecks the infected when they enter the house. The M32 Incendiary still wrecks the infected when they enter the house, but it's just not as effective and efficient as the Flamethrower. As for the M32 Stun, it's pretty useless in Cabin Fever. It's really weak, 30 damage per grenade. That doesn't really help at all, and it also doesn't slow down the infected, making it even more useless. So please do not bring the M32 Stun to Cabin Fever. You're probably going to screw your team over, and you're probably going to screw yourself over as well, because you're probably going to stun yourself sometime in the game. But anyways, this is pretty much my review for the M32 Incendiary and the M32 Stun. If you guys have any more questions you'd like to ask me, please feel free to leave it in the comment section below, and I will try my best to answer your questions. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and let's move on to the shoutouts. First, a shout out to, sorry I can't read your name, no, please put your player name in the beginning of the gift message. It makes it a lot easier for me, and you also get your shout out. And sorry, I don't want to review your gun right now. I have a lot of guns to finish first, and I just got megaphoned. Next, a shout out to DuhNeeguh_I for a missed end, and I will be opening this at a later time when Nexon decides to release a NX Rare. I'll open this. And next, a shout out to DuhNeeguh again for a respawn token, and next a shout out to Marashi for a respawn token, and another respawn token from DuhNeeguh_I. That killer is gay, yes he is. And what do we have next? A shout out to Ramirez9 for the L115A3, thank you very much. Next, a shout out to Ionaz89 for a respawn token, thank you. And next, a shout out to Bloodkiller for ACR Sandfire for 7 days, thank you very much. And a shout out to Natural Dash for bonus EXP pass 40%, 250 of them. And a shout out to Crooked89 for a medkit for a day, thank you guys.